Secretary for Levelling Up, Housing and Communities. Quite the title for his business card. Michael Gove, it's good to see you. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning.
Talk to me about what on earth is going on Rhodes. Which Travels accused airlines of flying tourists into Greece, Rhodes particularly, as being deeply irresponsible. They were flying them as late as Saturday night.
Yes, I think it's the case that obviously the fires in Rhodes have been tragic, and my heart goes out to those affected. But it is also the case, I think, as the Greek Minister for Tourism was pointing out yesterday, that the fires, while horrific, have been restricted to one part of the island. So, again, appropriate advice has been followed. It's been put forward by the Foreign Office here that it is safe to go to Rhodes, but obviously evacuation in a particular part of the island has been important.
Yeah, but people like TUI, Jet2, taking people as late as Saturday night, people getting off the plane and going straight to evacuation centres. That can't be right, surely.
Well, again, it's a fast-moving situation. The Greek authorities have dealt, I think, very effectively with the situation. And indeed, they've been supported by people from the UK government. There's a Foreign Office team there on the ground, humanitarian expertise as well as disaster relief expertise, which we're helping the Greek government with.
So you disagree with Which Travels saying that it was deeply irresponsible?
Well, again, I think that individual travel firms have actually shown a great degree of responsibility in making sure that they're available to take people back in some circumstances.
With empty seats?
Yes. So I think it's absolutely right that individuals should be able to go to Greece to enjoy their holidays. It's a tragedy that these fires have ruined what should be the happiest and most enjoyable time of the year for many. But it is also the case that I think that the criticism directed at individual firms isn't necessarily merited.
No, coming back with empty seats.
Oh, yes.
But that's not what you want. You want the planes full coming back, surely.
Well, again, yes, but I think that individual travel companies will make their own commercial decisions in line with government advice.
Would you go at the moment?
Yes, I'm planning to go to Greece in just over a week's time.
Are you? Are you going to one of these islands?
Yes.
Oh, goodness, and you're not at all worried?
Well, naturally, I want to make sure that as a government that we do everything possible to support Greece and indeed our tourists there. But no, I'm not, no.
OK. You going to Rhodes or are you more a Santorini kind of guy?
No, not Santorini, no. It's an island called Evia.
Oh, OK. But it's safe at the moment, obviously. Scientists are saying there are links between the climate crisis, what we are seeing in Greece, the island that you're going to, and others, and the heat wave at the moment. Have we had enough of these experts?
No.
So why are we not concerned about what's going on Greece then?
Oh, we are. I think, again, we've seen in the course of the last month 3 of the hottest days that the planet has had in recorded history. So, naturally, making sure that we take appropriate steps to mitigate the impact of climate change is absolutely central, and the UK government has shown leadership in this area. A thoughtful environmental approach is one that characterises the way in which we, as a government, have responded to this.
You guys are having a wobble because of what happened in Uxbridge and a few hundred votes in relation to ULEZ.
No, I think it's important to draw distinctions here. So the ULEZ expansion that the Labour Mayor Sadiq Khan has contemplated is about asking hard-working people to pay a significant amount more during a cost of living crisis. My view is that the way in which you build support for the environmental change that we need is not by penalising people in this way, it's by showing leadership across the board. And that means everything from investing in nature recovery to making sure that the progress that we're making towards electric vehicles and making sure that the progress we're making more broadly on decarbonisation is properly directed, but it is also the case that a thoughtful environmental approach involves taking account of other economic factors as well.
I'm glad you brought up the cars. Are you scrapping or saying that no more petrol and diesel cars can be used in the UK or new cars in the UK from 2030?
Yes.
OK. So there was some confusion about that yesterday. That's an absolute guarantee?
Yes.
OK, good, thank you. You've warned against treating the cause of the environment as a religious crusade. What do you mean by that?
Well, I think, again, as I think we both think, it's absolutely vital that we take steps to enhance and improve our environment. And I can run through a range of things that we're doing as a government, which I think are showing leadership, everything from the way in which we're shifting the money that we give to farmers so that we're giving money for enhancing nature rather than simply giving money on the basis of the size of a farm. I think that's the right thing to do. But the critical thing is, if we're going to win the battle, it's important to be led by and informed by science. And there are some groups, the sort of Just Stop Oil crew and so on, who are rather...
On the floor just yesterday where you are.
Indeed. And one of the things there is that they seem to be more interested in dividing the world into the damned and the saved, more interested in an absolutist point of view than they are in taking people with them in order to understand exactly what it is that is required.
They would say they're interested in saving the planet. The Prime Minister has been saying he didn't want to unnecessarily give people more hassle and more cost in their lives. Just Stop Oil is saying we're running out of alternatives.
Well, I think that the absolutism of Just Stop Oil is actually a barrier to moving in the right direction. We saw, for example, recently in the Netherlands, how an inflexible approach towards environmental rules actually led to a backlash. And the Netherlands, one of the most enlightened countries in the world, now has a significant body of people who are unhappy with the steps that we may need to take in order to save the planet, because they've been applied in an inflexible way and they've affected the way in which people carry on their businesses and conduct their lives. What you can't do, and what Just Stop Oil wants to do, is to try to make people feel guilty, get them to don a hair shirt. And also, the thing about Just Stop Oil is that their demands are unrealistic. We will need oil and gas for years to come. A diminishing amount. We're going to have a transition away from it, but we will need it. And Just Stop Oil, and for that matter, actually, the Labour Party, want us to deny ourselves the chance to use the oil and gas that we have in the North Sea. The only result of that would mean that we would be reliant on countries like Russia or countries in the Gulf that are not reliable partners. And the Just Stop Oil policy, the Labour policy, is that we get rid of British jobs and we give them to Russian workers. And I think that is in no way either right economically or right environmentally.
Certainly what we need more of is housing. You'd be pleased to know that we took your speech live yesterday here
Thank you.
On the programme. And you talked particularly about Cambridge. According to some MPs, your plans are dead on arrival. That was according to the South Cambridgeshire MP, Anthony Brown. I'm sure you've heard him say that. So you need to bring your backbenchers with you. Yes,
and the overwhelming response to the announcements that we made yesterday was very positive. So those people...
Not in his backyard, he says.
Well, Anthony is a friend of mine and I can understand his concerns, but I believe that the overwhelming national interest is in making sure that Cambridge, which is a world leader when it comes to scientific innovation, is allowed to expand. The other Cambridge in America, where Harvard University is creating new space for laboratories at a tremendous rate. We risk losing our scientific edge if we don't have new space for laboratories, more space for science, and also more space for the individuals, whether they're the graduate students, the technicians, or others, who will allow Cambridge to thrive. So I believe that we can convince Anthony and others that it's in the national interest and in Cambridge's interests to allow it to expand. Now, two big issues. One, water. We need to think about water supply, new reservoir. The other thing is making sure that the expansion of Cambridge involves a thoughtful, beautiful extension to an already beautiful city. OK, just before I let you go, would you like to see an investigation into the leaking of private information about Nigel Farage to the BBC? Well, I think it's already been the case that there's been quite a lot of investigation here. I won't get into the... We're talking about the leaking of private information. Yeah, I have a lot of sympathy with the position that Nigel Farage has found himself in on this. I think that, as far as I can tell, the decision that was taken to deprive him of banking facilities was a big mistake, something done for the wrong reasons. Should there be an investigation? Well, I think the company has questions to answer, but it's not for me to determine what the company should do, but I definitely think that he was owed an apology, he's got one, but I think that the company has further to go in order to make sure that this matter ends appropriately.
OK, we're out of time, but I'll get in trouble if I don't ask you this question, so if you can indulge me, please. Lord
I'll
Evans,
always indulge you,
thank you
Kate.
very much, Minister. Lord Evans has called for an overhaul of donation rules, saying the current system is not transparent enough. Your thoughts?
Well, I think that Lord Evans is always a helpful commentator on these issues, given his position in charge of the Committee on Standards and Public Life. But I do think that we have a fair, transparent and effective system at the moment, but I will look more closely at what he says.
OK. How do you relax on your Greek paradise island?
I'm not sure it's paradise, but swimming, reading, cooking.
Bit of Rioja?
Or
Whatever the Greek equivalent is.
Retsina, then Rioja.
Oh, very nice indeed. If there's space, I'll come along with you. It's nice to see you as always. Thank you
Lovely to
very
see you,
much
Kate.
indeed.